Welcome to What's a Brewin'. I'm your host, Matt Love, and today, co-hosting with me, we have John. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, John, he is the West Virginia Amazing Brewery Race champion.
That is correct.
Yeah, of 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, so first, congrats.
Oh,
and what's
thank
cool
you.
is on the previous episode where we got to interview Richard, you guys went on this pretty epic man beer trip, beercation.
18 breweries later. Yeah.
Wow, that's
3 days.
Yeah, show's pretty good. And you brought a beer to share, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
tell us about that.
So, I do a lot of the beer festivals for Common John Brewery in Manchester, Tennessee, and I actually met these guys at a beer festival in East Nashville, Tennessee. And super cool guys. They actually are starting up their own brewery in Memphis, Tennessee, and we actually had another festival the next weekend in Memphis, so I saw them again, and they had some beer for us. So, so that's where it's from. Bill Street, super cool guys. Definitely check them out. They're opening in July of 2023. Don't quote me on the month, but definitely next year.
Okay, yeah.
But definitely some good beer from these guys. So
Nice. Yeah, and that's a lot of times, I mean, we've been doing Hot Pass for 5 years, and when someone says, they're opening in, say, January, give it to about April, May. So many things happen with, it could be, paperwork from the state or, zoning codes or whatever it is. But good luck to these guys. Bill Street?
Yep.
Bill Street Brewing. That's awesome. So this is the Soul Stew. It is a brown ale with vanilla coffee. Ooh, all right. Well, thanks for sharing this.
Yeah,
Cheers.
absolutely. Cheers.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. That's got that good coffee taste, and it's not overpowering.
Yeah, and they also have this peanut butter jelly banana stout.
Yum.
That's pretty phenomenal. So,
Do they specialize in mainly in darker beers right now, or?
darker beers, they have some IPAs that are pretty awesome. But yeah, I've not had bad beer from them yet, so I've been pretty impressed.
That's great.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your race first. So West Virginia. So I guess you have a little story on why you chose to win that state, don't you?
Well, I am originally from West Virginia. Moved down to Tennessee about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when I met Goody, World of Beer, Hot Passport champion of several states, he introduced me to the Hot Passport and learned that West Virginia was in the race. But the first year I knew about it, there was only one brewery. And I didn't even know about this brewery. I was like, what? Like I knew there's only 28 breweries in West Virginia, and West Virginia is not a big state.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I gotta check this out.
Yeah.
So the Hot Passport was like the reason why I went to that one brewery. And that was in 2021. And so this year, the same brewery was on there, and there was another brewery that went on there as well, and had an amazing time at that. So.
Yeah. So last year when you went, what was that brewery that was? You still went to that brewery, right?
Yeah, it was the same brewery that was on, and it's just really unique because there's another brewery close.
Is it Dobra
Zupra?
Zupra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're on there, and there's another brewery called Weather Grounds, which is the brewery that I would always go to. It's my dad's favorite, and it's maybe an hour away from my hometown. And so when I learned about this other brewery, we went there. Amazing food, like a little bit more higher class food, actually. It was like a fancy restaurant. You walk in, and then they had a brew pub in the back where they were brewing the beer, and they had a tap room, like a tavern-style bar.
Mm-hmm.
And the beer was amazing. So I was like completely shocked. I was like, I'm glad I found this. And so I was excited to go back there this year to the Hot Passport. So
That's great. And it also is a pretty unique building as well, right?
yeah, very old school style building, very large.
Mm-hmm.
Just older. There's really nothing in this town but this brewery that's hidden in this nice restaurant in the middle of Tennessee or West Virginia. So
Yeah, that kind of reminds me, just saying, there's not much in that town, is going to Sonoyta, Arizona. There's a brewery down there called Copper Brothel. So it's called Copper Brothel. So copper because it's a copper state. And it was a great interview. They're on the podcast. And it's probably the nicest building in the whole town is the brewery. And they have amazing food. But they're doing really, really good things down there. They really play off the whole copper brothel, and everyone loves it.
Yeah.
All the beers are named after women, and all this stuff, and it's a really cool spot. But it's the highlight of the town.
Yeah.
And that kind of sounds like that brewery as well, where it's you come to this town, probably one of the biggest attractions, which is really cool with the craft beer community. And even kudos to you guys. You hit 18 breweries in 3 days. That you went to those breweries because they were breweries. They made their own craft beer.
Absolutely.
And the Hop Passport guided you to the mass majority of them, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So you're obviously a craft beer lover.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, I mean, you don't have to have the exact number, but approximately how many breweries have you visited?
353.
Wow. Okay. I wish I knew. I actually don't know.
I do track it. So
okay.
And I just got back from California last week, so I get to add 4 more on. So unfortunately, I did not do any of the Hop Passport locations.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I will be back to California. So
perfect. I think I've hit over. I'm probably to 160 this year.
Nice. It's impressive.
I think so. But just trying to. Well, it's kind of a job. So no, it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I guess we'll go and tie into the first interview. So this is really, really cool. I'll go and talk about this beforehand. So my cousin David and I were driving to this distillery. We're in Kingman, Arizona for this interview, and I had never been here. We plugged in the GPS. We're like, okay, there's an airport in this area. It's like industrial. We're driving, and we make a turn. Like, I think that's it. And there's like, it's gated, but we pull in, and there's these 3 train cars on the side. We pull in, we say hi. And really nice place. And what's really cool when you walk in, we didn't really talk about this on their podcast, but not only do they distill, spirits and rum and whiskey and all this thing, but they also have a bar for all their olive oil, like all these different olive oils.
That's interesting.
And we didn't really cover that in their podcast, but that was really cool. So if you're looking for really good olive oil, that's the place, Desert Diamond in Kingman, Arizona. But they had a phenomenal. We had a phenomenal experience. They actually they did something very unique, and it's talked about in the episode. But kudos to these guys. They get their rum, their 10-year age rum, took 9th in the world.
It's impressive.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. So if you're ever going to Vegas, it's an hour away. So if you guys are ever going to Vegas, you're listening to this, you're like, man, it's worth the drive. I mean, where else can you find rum that's ranked 9th in the world? And the bottle only costs $150. If you bought bottle number 10, 11, or 12, it's going to cost you over $1,000. So, anyways, I'll not steal the rest of the episode and let you check it out. Today we're at Desert Diamond Distillery in Kingman, Arizona. Deborah and John, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Cheers. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
There we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh. So what are we sipping on right here?
A good 10-year.
A 10 years. So
Arizona style.
So tell us. So this is one of your whiskeys. The 10
This
year
is one of our rums.
rums. One of your rums.
Yeah. Yep. We put that up 10 years ago. We've been watching her ever since.
Wow. And you were telling me a little earlier. What makes your guys' rum different than some of the other rums around the country?
Well, we all make rum from sugarcane, but after that, the biggest difference is our aging process. We're one of the only distilleries in the country who ages rum in new barrels, and we have since the beginning.
Oh.
And the microclimate here is a lot like Tennessee, Kentucky, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's a hot summer, cool winter,
Yep.
just bone dry.
Yeah.
So we humidify it.
Yeah, that's why I'm moving out west, being originally from Tennessee as well. I don't miss the humidity.
I really
at all.
don't either.
No.
Bugs and humidity. Well, mosquitoes and humidity.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of those mosquitoes. That's good.
Oh yeah. And that's a lot of people, and even me, before I came up to visit Arizona the first time, you think super hot desert.
Right.
And for me, thought flat, but even we'll get to this in a little bit, but we're in this train car and you can see the mountains just right there. The Arizona is very beautiful.
Arizona has a lot of character, and everything is about elevation.
That's right.
You can get everything from very hot to your typical 4 seasons.
Yeah, like Flagstaff, people can go snowboarding and skiing there, and
Yeah.
and then from Flagstaff, hop on 40 and come out here to Kingman.
Yeah, 2 hours south, you're in the valley, and
The valley's usually 10 degrees hotter than here.
and then you have
Wow.
the river. The river's always very hot.
Yeah,
Bullhead City, Laughlin, we're just 45 minutes away.
yeah, and then what inspired the name Desert Diamond?
You want to take that one?
Sure, we had a whole page of names, and I think it wouldn't be Desert Diamond Distillery if we had known about Desert Diamond casinos down in the valley. And we didn't know about that, so we whittled it down to our 3 favorite, and Desert Diamond Distillery came out on top. But it probably would have been a different name if because we wouldn't have wanted to take Desert Diamond since we knew Desert Diamond Casinos was down in the valley. So names are very important. You want to get something unique so it's not challenged later and you have to change all your labels or something. It does happen to some of the newer distillers or brewers, anybody it can happen to, and that can throw a wrench into your cash flow.
Yeah, and you guys been around for quite a while now, so
Yes.
you were pretty lucky because I assume if a brewery or distillery is opening now, there's just so many out there trying to find that URL and for the branding. It's
Yeah.
I guess it started in 2009.
Yeah, 2009 there was like 100. Now there's over 2,200. So,
Wow.
Yeah, the world.
That's great. And so we're in Kingman, and why'd you guys choose this location?
I'll let you take that one.
All right. It's basically we lived out in Nevada and we had to pretty much commute. But the founding or the final decision was made on the basis of the microclimate,
Okay.
and this is aquifer water here.
Oh, okay.
And we took a shot at it. Everybody asks us all the time, how did you know? No, this doesn't come with a guarantee. We did our homework, we calculated, but until you get your feet wet, it's like opening a new winery in a new area. It doesn't come with a manual. You got to write the book as you go, and that's what we've done.
So someone's listening, because water, especially when you're making, any kind of spirits and beer.
Important for us is we love the aquifer water on the front side. On the back side, I use like a distilled water. It's too many minerals around here.
Oh, okay.
So I really don't need anything falling out on me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's
So whatever you get in my spirits came from distilling and fermentation and aging, not the water.
okay.
It's basically a neutral spirit. I mean, neutral water.
Cool. And then, if someone's, you listen to this, they might be from Minnesota or Florida, and, coming, if they come into the area, say they grab a cocktail, what other things would you recommend for them to check out while they're in Kingman?
There is literally so much to do around here. I mean, from the Wallapai Mountains, which is just 20 minutes away, which has got hiking and biking and trails for 4-wheelers and stuff like that, to, the whole Desert Valley is like that, but we've got hiking trails down in the valley too here in Kingman, and they go out to the old Fort Beale, and we've got museums. In fact, one of the second largest history museum is located here in Kingman at the little downtown, which is just 8 miles away from here. And that's just the close stuff. And then we're only about 2 hours away from the West Rim of the Grand Canyon.
Well, the main
I mean,
rim or the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
or the
it's
West Rim.
everything's so close here. 2 hours from downtown Las Vegas, 45 minutes from Bullhead City, Laughlin. It's just very central to a lot of different places. A lot of people, if they know this area, will stage here and make it a long weekend and just do day trips out from here. And there's plenty of places to stay as far as the hotels. There's many historic hotels that have spent a lot of money renovating.
Route 66.
Yeah, and they're right off. They're places where the famous people have stayed, and you can stay in those rooms. They've kind of featured them like that. There's many, and you can get online and look at all the current statistics and ratings of those hotels and pick the best one for you.
We have 3 wineries, 2 breweries,
That's right.
Yeah.
a lot of hiking.
And so, with with the Route 66s, I wouldn't even say I'm that really educated on. I've been to Kingman a few times, but what are some of you said there's a museum. What other attract? You said that in the hotels. What's I guess tell us a little more about the whole Route 66.
Well, this is the longest section of Route 66 from Seligman, where you can jump on from I-40 right there at Seligman, and coming around the mountain to here to Kingman. And it adds a little bit to your trip. To be honest, the road is fabulous compared to I-40 right now, which is full of potholes. But, I mean, every now and then they fix it, and then that one's the better road, so it just kind of goes back and forth. But people love to jump on, Route 66 and just experience that long section. And a lot of motorcyclists love it. They come in groups and do their tours along Route 66, and people do all kinds of trips along it. It's a really fun trip, very historic.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's almost like going back in the 50s or something when it was vibrant. You still see all the colors, and they still have the schemes. A lot of the hotels and like neon lights and stuff. It's really cool.
And they've really jazzed it up because many communities along the route have got associations now where they're piling money into it, supporting the small businesses along the way, all the way on Route 66, all the way across the nation. So it's an experience that people have on their bucket list to maybe do more and more pieces of it.
Nice. And then just 8 miles away, they pop over here to see you guys. So kind of moving more to your guys' location, what did you all do before opening a distillery?
We always kid around and say make money. Now I guess I do what I like, and as long as Mama Bear's happy, we keep doing it.
Nice.
But I don't know what we were thinking. I suppose when we figure that out, we probably won't do it anymore. I don't know.
But it's addictive. This is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. And so before you started back in 2009, what was your aha moment? Like, let's start a distillery.
Oh, historically, we worked on a winery many years ago, starting a winery in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And we grew grapes for 8 years, but it never materialized. We ran into partner troubles. Mm-hmm. But we never lost that flavor for manufacturing. And the opportunity, I don't know, I guess we had a bored weekend, and the winery thing never worked out, but we did a workshop in California about distilling. And that's when we kind of just all of a sudden, okay.
Yeah, I think we were looking at wine and beer, and then when we went to that workshop, it had that extra industry. It was a new industry of craft distilling. And when we joined the club, I mean, it was a small club. It was 100 to 200 craft distilleries nationwide when we opened in 2010. So it has been an up-and-coming industry. With over 2,000 now, it's going to continue growing. And because of the consumer voting with their feet, just like they did in wine, I think that's very important. People are finding that craft spirits are a little bit more palatable than just something off the shelf at the grocery store, because they're not carrying true craft. So, and that's just a logistics thing, because craft is kind of small. There's just not enough for the distributors to purchase and get out there. So it's just going to be growing more and more, I think, every year.
Yeah, and I feel like, just all over our country, people do love to travel, and then they want to taste that town, and so they might not be into beer, so they'll come over to you guys and it's like, oh, this I love rum, or I love whiskey, and this is your guys, this is Kingsman's. Yeah. And now with that, from 2009, you said around 100 to 2,200 now. That's just, it's great to see.
It's great to see. Yeah.
So you guys have an amazing location. Driving out here, like when we came in, it's like, I see the airport and make a couple turns, and there's like, there's the tap room, and there's a trail car. So what inspired? We're in one right now. What inspired the rail car or cars, and then little history on them.
We've had restaurants in the past. We've done a lot of things together, and restaurants not particularly what we wanted to do. We were hoping somebody out here would take the reins. They didn't, so we sat down, and we don't do anything normal. So brick and mortar was not going to happen. So plane or train, Train one.
Train one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only we just can't buy a normal train, so
Well,
we bought a 103-year-old train. This is car number 30. It's in all the history books. It's was one of the heavyweight vehicles built in 1917 for the AT&SF. And buying a train's pretty easy. You can go to the websites and find out that they're not that expensive. But then when you go to move them, that's when you find out where the problem lies.
Yeah.
when
And why they're for sale for very inexpensive,
100 tons. This one went.
82 feet
Yeah,
long.
and this one
Wow.
happens to be one of the hardest to move ever. And so it was quite a challenge. I would say this was harder than starting our distillery,
Wow.
just moving this train.
Yeah.
And so that says a lot. So when we got it here, we were so stressed out, and I think we just fell out for a few days, just like, I can't believe it's here. Took a while.
Yeah. Now, so we're sitting in it. People,
Yeah.
they can have their lunch or dinner
Yes.
here and have a full kitchen in here. And so your
And
kitchen.
now we're adding to the family too.
Yeah. So outside you have two more. The cabooses. What is there a little history on those guys? And
Well, I guess one of them you would consider rather young, 1965.
Okay.
She's a bay window, and we just finished her. Right now, she's kind of an extension of the dining area.
okay.
And then we have a 1948 cupola, and she's retired ATSF too, and she's a work in progress.
And she's a historic. She's in some of the history books. I think she's in a lineup that is well known for historic caboose.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure it's a fun work in progress. I mean, you guys did an incredible job here. All the, original woodwork
Yeah.
going on, and you were telling me earlier the original ice box, correct? In the in this one,
Yep.
and so with the kitchen, we were talking about earlier how it's pretty unique and about your chef. You want to chat about that a little bit?
Yeah, we thought we had an executive chef lined up, and he had to leave us about a couple of weeks before we would have, put a list out on the internet, like for dates for dinners, and he had to move all the way to New York, and just unexpectedly, and we were like, we're without a chef for a while, and so we called a local chef here to see if they knew anyone, and they said, well, let me talk to you on Monday. So they came by, and our executive chef said, hey, I don't want to work full time, but I'd love to help you out. And we were like, we don't want a lot of time. How about once a month? So we do these fancy dinners that are in the train at night, a Friday and Saturday night, just once a month. And we feature a different country, a different cuisine every month. We just did Italy for Valentine's Day, and March is going to be New Orleans, so Mardi Gras theme.
Yeah.
So everything gets more and more fun every time. So we decorate, and I think everybody wants to dress up for Mardi Gras. So this one's going to be kind of wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Fun.
So it's going to be great. And so we're doing stuff
I'm
like
missing
that.
all the good ones.
We would love to, expand on that in the future if the demand is there. So we're just in a rural community, so we'll have to see how that works. But we do have people coming in for our dinners from the surrounding states. Sometimes they'll come in. RVers will stay the night after doing our dinner because they brought in an RV and there's plenty of room. I'm a Harvest Hoster, so we've been a member of Harvest Host for years. So people stay here in their RV dry camping. We don't have a facility like an RV park or anything, but they can stay the night.
Nice.
And so we're in kind of an out of the way along the route kind of situation. So people like staying here.
Nice. And you're saying you all make lunch too? Is that daily?
Absolutely.
The days we're open, 11 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
do
Limited menu. We do a lot of hot paninis, some cheese plates, some nice appetizer plates.
And we have vegan and specialty dietary menu available. Call ahead if you want to talk to the chef, and she can have something for you, specialty. She tries to carry certain things cyclical. Sometimes we run out. So that's always nice to call ahead if you know you're going to come and you want something special. So we can do that for people.
Nice, nice. And then we'll move the conversation back to
Spirit.
your spirits. So So I see you got a few rums, you got your corn whiskey. Which one do you take the most pride in?
Well, at this point, I have to, I love everything that's in a barrel. Those are my babies.
Mm-hmm.
Agave rum keeps us in business. It's a unique little recipe we do. We flavor the dark rum, and we came up with a recipe. We didn't want to do a spiced rum. We want to do something that really said Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
And it drinks kind of like a honey whiskey, but it's our most popular. But the barrel reserves are what I got. I got in this business to age. I don't age very well, but the barrels do. If we got one lucky break in 12 years, that has worked out really well.
Nice.
And the 10-year came out last year. And of course, not of course, but actually it was very successful in the competitions.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was like the culmination of everything because a lot of people placed a lot of faith in me for 12 years, not knowing whether I'd be any good at what we do. As it did, turns out it worked out pretty good. So.
And you won a big award, correct?
Yes.
She'll tell you about awards. I don't talk about awards.
Yeah, so our 10-year is ranked 9th in the world through the IWSC in London. That's the International World Spirit Competition. The 6-year, this is a gold wax, which is 5 years and up. And this is ranked 18th in the world through the IWSC in London. This one we mainly put in the San Francisco world, this age group of 2, 3, or 4 years, which is the black wax. And this is the favorite of our bourbon and whiskey drinkers. Mm-hmm. It's getting usually a bronze, silver, or gold medal from the San Francisco world every time we put it in there. It hasn't been consistent because sometimes we miss the deadline. But the first year that we got a barrel out, which was 2012, we were kind of vindicated because we sent that 2-year to the San Francisco world and got a gold medal from the very beginning.
Wow.
So that immediately told us we were going in the right direction in the barrel room because we were doing some experimental things in the barrel room, and I'll let John talk about that.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we were one of the first and only distilleries to age rum in new barrels. Well, imagine this crazy couple coming to Kingman and making rum. I mean, that was psycho enough. But putting in new barrels was like jumping off a cliff. And it gave us our signature. We are the miner, not the pirate. I love the pirate, but I make rum in Arizona. And basically the moral of that story is the Caribbean does a great job at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to carve out our own little identity. Nice. And I think we've done that.
That's great. And I assume do you make cocktails in the...
Absolutely. We use all of our own products, and we can just about make anything anybody loves, from margaritas to mojitos to Bloody Marys. Really anything that you make at home. If you tell us what you like, we probably have a cocktail that we can make that tastes, very craft oriented and tastes 10 times better than you get at your local bar. We use high-end ingredients, not the bar mixers. We use an all-natural mixers, the company that makes mixers, and they're just fabulous. So we use Stonewall Kitchen. I need to... There you go.
Yeah.
It's out there. Everybody knows Stonewall Kitchen.
Nice. And then if someone's coming in the first time, what 2 unique cocktails do you make that you would recommend, like you should try this?
That's a very good question.
I don't know if they're unique, but there's not too many rum margaritas. We serve a lot of rum margaritas.
We do a lot.
And we serve a lot of mojitos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know. They're not unique.
Yeah. But they're unique to you guys with
with our spirits.
Yeah.
And
the mojito we'd make with berries, and we got that recipe from a restaurant down in the Phoenix Valley that made it into the top 5 most refreshing cocktails one summer. Mm-hmm. And one of those cocktails was made with our Gold Miner Spirit, the dark rum. And I read about it online or something, and I'm like, ooh, that's us, Gold Miner Spirits. So I called down there and they gave me the recipe, and we featured it at our first dinner when we first released this, and it got a gold medal and everything. And it's been a hit ever since. I mean, that was really one of our very first cocktails, and everybody just almost, so many people said, oh, this is the best mojito I've ever had, that we stopped counting.
Wow.
Like we used to count, like check, check, check. And same thing with the margarita. I used to hear, best margarita I've ever had. Check, and thousands of people have said that.
Wow, wow. And then also with your bottles, we have something else unique on the table that has your liquor in it.
Yeah, we've expanded through the years. We've really become quite, just a full-bodied destination rather than overnight stay. We haven't achieved that yet.
And everybody loves chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
So we added chocolate, and we have an artisan chocolate maker here in town, but we also wanted to do the European-style liquor-filled chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
And
you looked for years to find
years.
somebody.
I actually got to the point where I was going to do it myself. And I was out looking for tutorials, and I ran across this one lady in Texas who does it. And she goes, yeah, I'll make them for you. And I was like, ooh, one less thing for me to do.
Yeah.
And they were phenomenal. And that was the key.
Wow.
And they're liquid center. So it's hard to find liquid center. You can find ganaches and the little centers that are chocolate. But yeah, and you definitely want to.
So we put these together. One has our agave rum. I think that's what you have. And then the other has a 10-year.
Yeah, and those are all agave for the guys. So because they already
Okay.
tasted our tenure.
Okay. And then, not some in my mouth, but, so if someone wants to find these, is it only here or can
That's
they find them
pretty much
online
here.
too? Or
Yeah.
Very difficult to ship. So, our spirits are generally hard to, we can only ship here in Arizona pretty much. So, the agave rum is available in 35 states that you can get. Most of our businesses come visit us. We're a nice destination.
And I make vanilla extracts
Keeps on
in-house, and that's considered a food product. So just call us if you are, interested in getting something. I think certain things I can ship as long as it's not the alcohol.
Yeah.
So, you never know.
Yeah, we make a very nice dark and light rum vanilla extract too.
Okay. So this is, you guys,
If it's alcohol, we make it.
yeah. And it's in your name, but you guys are, definitely a gem to Arizona.
Oh, thank
We
you.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And so a couple more questions. So if someone's looking to maybe start a brewery or a distillery or just any business, what advice would you give that person?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Well, if you read the industry magazines, they say, do your business plan.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have enough money to get started,
And then double it.
No, and then quadruple it.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a first.
That-
I mean,
No, really.
it's, yeah.
That's the main.
I don't ever discourage entrepreneurial. I love entrepreneurial.
Oh, yeah.
So I support anybody, but it's not, especially if you're going to make it. You have to be prepared. It's very capital intensive. It's very time intensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So no matter if you have investors, they have to be ready for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the key. That's what I would suggest.
Anybody
And everybody involved has to be prepared for the long haul.
Yeah.
It's not a quick turnaround.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And then last one, what's a brewing here at Desert Diamond? Any events coming up?
Amazingly enough, with all the rums, I do have my play toys.
Okay.
And right now we have a 7-year wheat whiskey. When I first started, I did all kinds of wheat. Now I play with the corn the last 4 years. I have a really good friend in the industry, and he kind of challenged me. He makes an incredible bourbon. So, but this year we're coming out with the first 10-year wheat whiskey. So that'll be, that's a very interesting and awesome thing for us.
Nice.
Even though 10 years is not an incredibly old spirit in the industry, for artisan, it's a fairly elite club.
Yeah.
And then we make a 2-year corn whiskey, and we're aging those older. The oldest we have in the barrel room right now is 3-year, and I think we're planning on bringing out an older corn whiskey once our 2-year gets sold. But that 2-year corn is mashed with a corn that's from this area, and it's a non-GMO seed corn, and it's a sweet corn on top of that. So it's kind of an heirloom corn that we're getting from a local Native American tribe that's growing it here. And so it's really phenomenal, and it's full of flavor, and it translates into that really bourbon-esque straight whiskey flavor. And we do 100% corn whiskey. And that now, we looked at the rules, and that now falls into the bourbon category. So if we age it right, we can have a bourbon out of that. So that's in the future as well.
So when will you be, I guess, what's the correct word for that? Tapping the barrel, or
Oh yeah, bottling the barrel.
Bottling
tap-
barrel,
yeah, either way.
you gonna do like a little
just
party
kinda
for it or anything, or?
Well,
Yeah, that's what the
we do
barrel dinners are
that's
for.
Right.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
what we normally in the barrel dinners, they consist of 4-course, 5-course meal,
Right.
couple cocktails, entertainment, and we crack a new barrel.
And what month will that be?
We have no idea.
Oh no, yeah, okay,
Well,
okay.
we just did the 10-year, what he talked about, the 10-year.
Well, we're
whiskey.
hoping in May.
Yeah.
We tasted that at the Italy dinner, which
Oh,
was this
okay.
past weekend.
Okay.
And
That was
everybody
a
got to
sneak
taste.
preview.
Yeah, that was a sneak preview, but I think you're planning.
In our business, like when we first came out with the 7-year wheat, the government closed. We had trouble getting
I
labeling.
know.
Mm, okay.
I forgot about that already.
If I commit and say we're going to have this out in May and the phone starts ringing, there's no guarantee that
You
we
just
haven't
never
run
know.
in. Today we
Okay.
have bottle issues, cork issues. We
Yeah.
could have label issues. So until it's actually in the bottle, labeled and ready to go, we don't worry about a release.
Okay, okay. I was gonna see when I could
It's
pick one
just-
up.
We've had 12 years. We've had a lot of experience, so
Yeah.
we're a little more cautious.
No, for sure.
And when we did the 7-year wheat coming out, and we lost like 5 months.
And we had pre-sold on that one, and
Yes.
we had to wait and wait and wait for the people to get back to the office so they could approve our label. And then we had to order it and wait for it to get printed. So there's
Yeah,
everything is a struggle.
yeah. It's a lot of patience in
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Eh.
Well, Deborah and John, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. sir.
Hey.
Thank
Cheers.
you all very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview down with Desert Diamond. It was really cool to talk to both the owners, and it's really cool. It's just a couple, husband wife team, and just crushing it, making really really good spirits. So, John, while we still have you here, so you've hit, what'd you say, 300 something breweries?
353
350
as of today.
Oh, as of today.
Yeah.
Did you hit another one today?
No.
Cool. So, what would you say? What's your favorite style? Like, if you're going in and pretty much, the brewery's got all the beers, all the good stuff. What's your go-to? Or at least, and I'm sure it changes. Like right now,
Yeah.
we
So
went to
right
XYZ
now,
brewery.
I've been going for juicy IPAs.
Okay.
Which is not typically what I usually go for. I like the darker beers, stouts and porters. I homebrew as well. So I do a lot of smoked beers. I like to do smoky porters and smoky stouts. But yeah, so a nice hazy, juicy IPA.
There we go.
It's kind of my
Cool.
thing.
There we go. So, good juicy IPA. So, so you won the West Virginia Amazing Brewery Race. Do you ever plan to maybe, hit the? I know they're not big fans of each other, but maybe winning the Virginia race as well, or
So my wife is actually from Virginia, and
There you
we
go.
always joke that I'm from West Virginia and she's from actual Virginia. But yeah. So I actually got a Virginia brewery shirt on now called the Answer Brew Pub, which is hands down probably my number one brewery of all time.
wow.
I've been there 4 times now, and I've had nothing but amazing beer consistently.
Is it mainly the best brewery because of the beer, or is just atmosphere and everything combined?
Just beer.
Just the
solely.
beer. Okay.
The atmosphere is cool. It's a brew pub, but I've never had such amazing, stand out beer consistently throughout their whole menu.
Wow.
Like every style. They have sour smoothies. They got stouts. They have amazing hazy IPAs. They have just every style just kicks out of the park.
That's
And I've
awesome.
never been to a brewery that's been so consistent.
Huh. I would say that for me, I mean, it's been a while since I've been there now. It's Southern Tier Brewing in New York.
Yeah.
They have multiple locations.
I've been to the Pittsburgh one. And I've been to the Cleveland, Ohio one.
Oh, okay. I've been to the Pittsburgh one and just
The
the
stadium.
Lakewood,
Yeah.
the original location. But what hooked me on them was their pumpkin beer.
Oh, yeah.
That was the gateway
Pumpkin
drug.
is phenomenal.
Oh my gosh! And they have so many varieties now. They have a coffee version. They got a
Barrel aged rum
barrel aged.
barrels, yeah.
Oh, So good. Then they have the Warlock, which is pretty good. But Pumpkin, that's what sold me. But when I went in there, I mean, we bought 2 flights of all their different beers, and just same thing. It's like everything, every single one. I was like, wow, what are they doing? Is it like sprinkle some cocaine in here? I mean, what's going on?
They kill on the IPAs too. That 2X IPA is phenomenal.
Yeah, they make really good stuff. But no, I definitely need to check them out again, and we gotta get them in the Hot Passport.
Yeah,
right.
Before it.
Yeah. So, so I see you and Richard, you guys are good buddies. What I see him hitting some Hot Passport states this year. How, or not Hot Passport, Tennessee locations. How many have you stamped off this year?
Ooh. So that's the problem about having a buddy on the Hot Passport, because we're like, are we using your Hot Passport or using mine? So we'll go back again and then use mine when we're hanging out. So that's the joy of having a buddy that's on the Hot Passport, because you can go several times and still have that benefit of the Hot Passport. So I've been to maybe 10 to 15.
Okay.
I would say comfortably
Nice.
Hot Passport.
And would you say, are you more of a physical or a digital user?
Digital.
Digital. Nice.
Last year I was the physical. Digital, I just felt that was more convenient for me.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. Richard likes to collect things. My wife doesn't let me collect things anymore. So the digital works a little bit better.
That's probably why I'm still single. Oh, too funny. All right. Well, we'll finish off in a second, but we'll go and we'll cut into the second interview. And what's cool about this interview is actually a follow-up interview. We've interviewed Glenn twice. It's in Ivanhoe Park in Orlando, Florida. And he's doing really, really great things down there. And I don't know if we talked about this on their podcast. I think we did. But what was so cool about how much they're into the community and the craft beer community, not only just like their community of Orlando, but the whole craft beer community, is that for their anniversary party, it's going to be a beer festival with a bunch of other breweries. That's how they're celebrating their birthday. Like that's so cool. It's just so much giving and whatnot. And I thought that was really humble of him, and they have a really good thing going. So check it out. Today we're at Ivanhoe Park Brewery in Orlando, Florida. Glenn, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back on. Cheers.
Cheers. So what are we sipping on today?
So you have our Joyland IPA. It's our American IPA, one of our core beers offered in the boxcar variety pack. We like the name just because it came from Joyland in 1915, which Ivanhoe Park was renamed. I have our beer, which is a fun one just because it's an easy drinking 4% Florida lager. And we actually are the official craft beer sponsor for the local Orlando Solar Bears. So
Oh, cool.
It's kind of like a partnership beer that we have, and they carry it in the Amway, so it's kind of fun to have it over there.
Nice. And what sport is that?
So it's the local ECHL hockey team.
Oh, okay.
So I think you go for the fighting, and then there's hockey occasionally.
Yeah. And it's great to have you back. And if anyone's listening to this one on this episode, you can go back to episode 1 where Glenn was one of the first by Zoom when we started What's a Brewin'. So
Yeah.
it's great to be in your location this time.
There you go. Well, welcome.
Thanks. And so you're named after Ivanhoe Park, and it was renamed Joyride, correct?
Joyland. Yes.
Because what's really cool when you walk around your tap room, you have some old photos. What are some unique rides when you looked at the old pictures? Like some unique rides that probably wouldn't be safe today.
I mean, pretty much everything wouldn't be allowed today under OSHA's standard, but the main attraction was the toboggan slide. So one of our core beers, also in the boxcar variety pack, is our toboggan blonde ale, just because it's an easy drinking blonde ale that kind of slides into the weekend. But I have a feeling it was made out of wood, so the splinter action probably wasn't too great.
Yeah.
But other than that, just beach houses, boating. I mean, they didn't have the rides we have today at the amusement parks, but I mean, I'm sure back in 1910 that was exciting for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's cool how you pay homage to those rides and stuff by just naming the beers after them and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the local community really likes that. I mean, I came from California and randomly came across this history, and generational Floridians had no idea. So
wow.
I think it's kind of a fun historical kind of uncovering that a lot of local residents had no idea about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, walking around your tap room, you can't help to notice these huge, beautiful tables. Where'd you acquire those tables? And I assume you had them made from the wood, or?
Yeah, so one of our business partners was from Pennsylvania. He's down here now full time. He does a lot of woodworking, but he has a contact up there that was able to get us real reclaimed wood. So that's what the walls all have. The tables were made out of one huge silver oak tree.
Wow.
So it came down as one whole piece, and then he just took it to his wood shop, chopped it up into the 12 tables that we have now, and I mean, no one's gonna steal those tables, that's for sure.
And did he make the chairs well? We tried to move one. I was like, wow, this is like this chair has to be like 60 pounds.
That was another business partner. He's out of Kentucky, but it's kind of like along those lines. He's into metalworking, so he helped us out with those.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So Orlando, most people think of all the big parks here. What do you recommend if people coming in, maybe they're taking a day off from the park, but want to check out the outdoor scene? What would you recommend before or after they grab a pint from you?
Yes, I mean, the district we're in is called Ivanhoe Village, and it's got a lot of great spots. I mean, if you do make it to Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company, there's a lot of other great craft beer locations, but we do have a lot of outdoor activities because we are one of the main streets that actually has lakefront property.
Oh, wow.
So Gaston Edward Park is a great location to kind of hang out. There's stand-up paddleboarding, different boating activities you can do out there. So I definitely recommend, if you come to Ivanhoe Village, don't just stay here. Get out there. Thirsty Topher, GB's Bottle Shop, a lot of good stuff. 1010 Brewing right down the road. So park your car. It's all walkable, and just kind of make a day out of it.
Oh, for sure. And then, since last time we chatted a year ago, what's been kind of new around here?
So GB's did open a new Gnarly Barley sandwich shop, so that's kind of nice. There's the Hall, which is a food court that's right across the street from us. Big apartment complex just went in. That was super nice. We've actually had 2 apartment complexes go in, so I think Ivanhoe Village has slowly become on the map as a destination spot. Other than that, we did sign with the Solar Bears. We signed with Lakeland Magic as well recently, so we have 2 kind of sports partnerships that we're working on, and just kind of working with distributors to get our beer out there.
Great. And where can most people find your beer at?
So in Central Florida, City Beverages is our main distributor, and we're able to get into Publix, ABC, Total Wine, some 7-Elevens, and then a lot of local restaurants definitely support us with a tap handle here and there. So there's a lot of good spots that you can hopefully, if you ask for Ivanhoe Park, hopefully they have it.
Yeah. And you were mentioning some other breweries in the area, and I believe last time we chatted, there was about 30 in the Orlando metro. What makes Ivanhoe Park different than those other breweries?
So I mean, we all have that same mission of making good craft beer. I think we have the same mission of community, but that's like where we really thrive. If you look at our case boxes, it says a commitment to community.
Yeah.
So our biggest thing is we throw some really cool events. Every 4th Sunday we got family day, so we get a bounce house, we have a family DJ, and this is all free for the community. Just come out and enjoy it. We do a big dog day afternoon with different dog vendors. We've done markets, which are really great, where we have local boutique people come out and sell their craft. And with COVID, more and more people have kind of seen that as like an opportunity to not have to get a brick and mortar, but see how well their local craft will sell. And a lot of them have expanded and grown into other markets. So I think it's just that community driven. I think we do a really good planning process. Brew and Brew on Friday, so we have a free movie. So it's all free for the community. It's all included. Just come by, hang out. You can have a beer if you want. If you don't, just chill out. And I think that's what we want to have, is that safe space where people feel comfortable coming out. And especially after COVID, I mean, you want to feel like you're still part of that community, and it's not so, I guess, socially awkward because we haven't seen each other in so long.
Yeah. And I feel like, and I enjoy that you really get the community involved. You do these events, and just even kind of your perspective on come have a beer or don't. Either way. And I've noticed that's a common thread of success of breweries. It's just we're here for the community, and we want to help just get people together, and that's what's been really cool shooting this, and seeing a lot of breweries and how they are intertwined with the community and bring in other businesses like the markets and things like that.
Yeah.
So with we went through COVID. Has there any events that might have had to been put on pause that are now going to be able in the lineup now for 2022?
Yeah, so I mean, luckily Florida wasn't shut down as long as some other
Yeah.
places, but we did get hit pretty hard at March 2020. We had our first annual Halftoberfest plan. Put a lot of time and effort into it. We do a Vienna lager called Halftoberfest. So what it is like a celebration of halfway to Oktoberfest. There's just so many Oktoberfest events, and we're like, we love Oktoberfest, but we can't compete with 100 other events going on.
Yeah.
We're like, well, if we do it halfway, we'll be the only one.
Yep.
And slowly there's been like Springfest and Marzenfest and stuff that have popped up, but it's still kind of a fun way to come out. But when it was canceled, we still had Vienna Lager going. We ended up canning it. We were able to sell it in 4-packs to go, even though we couldn't do on premise. And we had our half-liter pints because everything's half. We were able to sell those and, made a little package out of it. And then we just did a virtual toast on Facebook Live. And I think it was still kind of fun for people because, I mean, back then you're like, it's going to be done in a week. No big deal. And
Yeah.
kind of like still kind of excited, like, this is kind of nice. I'm by myself. Nobody's bothering me. And then, 6 months later, it's still going on. But that was a big one. So that's actually coming up March 19th. We're excited to bring that back in person. So it'll be our 3rd annual. We had a really good attendance last year, so that's really a really fun one to kind of do. Return to Joyland's our anniversary. Obviously in 2020 we scaled it back and did that kind of virtually just because we didn't want too many crowds. But 2021 we actually added an invitational beer fest. So we invited all the Central Florida breweries out, and we had 30 breweries that we bottled their beer to kind of make it more enticing for them to come out. And they brought some great stuff, and I think we sold out of tickets. I think we had 500 attendees total, and just got cool glassware, unlimited boards. Like, we all attend Beer Fest, but which ones you're like, that's the good stuff from that one. So we try to base it on all the things that entice us to want to go back to a Beer Fest.
Yeah.
So we're hopeful this year, we'll get 30 again, but then next year will be our 5th anniversary, and we're hoping to move it over to the park on the lake that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And get all the Florida breweries out. I mean, at least, hopefully 50, but we'll see where it gets from there.
Yeah. I'll even put that on my calendar. Maybe Hot Passport can
There you go.
get a booth too. And that sounds like a lot of fun.
I like
And that's cool too. Or even you say that's your anniversary.
Yeah.
And so even for your anniversary, you're bringing other breweries in, just create that community, that craft beer community, and that's it's really, really cool. So you've been doing Ivanhoe Park for, is it 4 years?
Yeah, so this will be our 4th.
Oh, yeah, this will be your 4th, yeah.
So it was in planning for about a year before that, so 2017. Yeah.
In your time being here, what's one of the most interesting people you've given a pint to here?
Oh man, it's a tough one.
Could be a war hero, could be a famous person, maybe someone that's traveled the world.
Man,
Someone's been to 1,000 breweries.
there are a lot of people. I mean, we just ran into one of your Hot Passport fans out there that's opening a brewery up in Buffalo, New York. So, I mean, just today, that's pretty interesting that he came over, said hi, introduced himself, and he's going through the same thing I was going through 4 years ago. So I think that's why it's tough to know like who my one interesting customer is, because I feel like every day, you meet someone new that's just as interesting. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if someone's listening to this, and obviously you've had a ton of success, and you even moved cross country to start this brewery. If someone's listening to this, what advice would you give that person that they might be thinking of starting a brewery or just a business in general?
I mean, raise as much capital as you can.
Yeah.
I think everybody underestimates that portion of it. I opened up my first brewery in California, and Bottle Logic opened up like 6 months after me. But I mean, they did it right. They had all the capital. They knew like they visited more breweries than I did, and I think that's where it is. Like I mentioned, Beer Fest. Like we took the best of every Beer Fest. I think they did a really good job of like going out to every brewery and tasting room and just taking those mental notes of like what you enjoyed, what you didn't like. And I think they just encapsulated like the perfect tap room, space.
Yeah.
With the decor and the layout and the, I guess, flow of traffic, and it just worked out really well. Whereas it was my first brewery, and it was me and my dad, and we were bootstrapping. So we opened up, our walls were white, we had picnic benches, so it's
Yeah.
totally different vibes. So I think, there is a point of like good beer will bring good people, but I think there's also a point of branding and understanding that aspect of it. And, the biggest thing is just getting into your community and, volunteering where you can to make connections that will hopefully eventually return later to drive traffic as you open up.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you just said about taking mental notes of different breweries, and it's been nice. Kind of you see where that like common thread of success kind of in each brewery, and sometimes it's different things. It could be decor or some matching tables. Sometimes there's people that some engineers have started this brewery, but they don't really understand that, hey, you need to have a comfortable environment to sit in. Like, yeah, we can make wonderful beer, but just taking that common thread and applying that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they did
Cool.
a good job implementing that.
yeah, yeah. So and then you came here and started this one, correct? And then
Yep.
kind of I guess learn from some mistakes and just what was different when you started that one from when you started Ivanhoe?
Like you said, learned from a lot of mistakes. A lot of lessons were learned. I think overall, just having enough capital to really pay for a marketing firm that can kind of help. I mean, we do a lot of our own labels and designs in-house, but when we first opened, we hired the marketing firm to really come out with some, basic assets that we can build our brand around. So a lot of our one-off cans are more internal, like, we'll just brainstorm and come up with a random name, but everything else that's like going into the market that's a core beer related item, really keep it in that marketing box. And I think just overall having a better foot traffic area. Ivanhoe Village has luckily been growing as it has, whereas in California, as the first brewery in Huntington Beach to open up, so I had to cut a lot of red tape, which gets expensive and delays. And then we were also off the beaten path, which California's craft beer market was at a point where they would go down a dark alley for craft beer, whereas Orlando doesn't have that same, consumer.
Yeah.
Where, they're trying to find the new craft beer. They're more so like, oh, I tripped on a brewery, let's go check it out. So
Yeah.
I think having that foot traffic here has really helped us, drive the brand and get out there.
Oh, for sure. And your branding is on point too. I love where the box. It's a box car. It's it's cool. I even like how you got the graffiti where it says Florida out there. It's like when someone tagged it.
Yeah,
So
they did a good job. That's
yeah.
for sure.
And then what's a brewing? We talked about your anniversary parties coming up. Anything else, or maybe expansion or anything in the near future we can look forward to?
Yeah, so we currently contract brew with Brew Hub to do our core beers. That way we have more tank space to allow us to do fun varieties. We did just win a gold medal for Florida Best Beer for our 1915 California Common.
Nice.
So we just-
Congratulations.
Thank you. We just celebrated that this weekend. We are looking at some off-site taproom spaces, and then we're looking to add a permanent food container where we can actually do our own food and do like more educational stuff where it's like food infused with the beer or beer dinners with the pairings. Just because, we were a commitment to community, but we also had the initial mission statement, educate the consumer. And I think, food and beer is just such an easy way to really help people explore their palate and kind of get a better understanding. Like, the most basic Belgian wheat beer, people don't taste bubble gum until you tell them it tastes like bubble gum, and then every sip they're like, holy cow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just that little bit of knowledge that like helps them, get their palate to educate, like, this is the style of beer that I'm tasting because I get that, point of flavor. So
Yeah.
I think, that'll be fun, and that's on the horizon, but we got some good stuff going for sure.
That's great. Well, Glenn, thanks for joining us again
Yeah,
on
for
What's
sure.
a Brewing.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Glenn. It was a really good time being back in Orlando. We caught him at it was a pretty nice day. So yeah, John, while we have you here before we wrap it up, so from West Virginia, what's really cool, you said earlier you had about 28 breweries, and it's definitely grown. So yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the other day, actually, two of the big players in the brewery scene in West Virginia announced a collab, and that's the biggest thing in West Virginia craft beer that I've seen since the whole boom of craft breweries in West Virginia. So it's interesting to see that some of these breweries are adapting to the culture of craft beer and being able to do collaborations and expand, not just in West Virginia, but just learning from other states what they're doing from a legal standpoint and things like that. So I think it's just kind of the starting point for breweries in West Virginia to kind of grow even more, because there's opportunities definitely throughout the state. So with the two breweries that we went to in West Virginia, 300 miles apart, from the bottom of the state to the very top west of the state.
Wow. That's the distance of the two hop passport breweries?
It's pretty far.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of breweries within the state that are definitely, I'm sure, willing to adapt to the culture of hop passport and things like that. So that's what's exciting to see, growing from one from last year and then two to this year, and where it's going to be next year. So
Exactly. And that's what we hope happens with this event calendar as we, get underway and our team is ready to rock. When you listen to this, we haven't released it just yet. We're just in the last phases of pushing it out. But when you do listen to it, to this episode, it will be underway, and just really creating that culture, and we just want to give back. We want to help just kind of bridge that gap between the brewery and the users, and just where it's way easier with all our events going on, and not only the events of our partners, but even the beer festivals where you can, maybe find your next favorite brewery. And so especially we'll have all the events going on in West Virginia, and all the beer festivals, distilleries, meaderies, cideries, because those are definitely popping up. And just like you said with West Virginia, I mean, it is interesting how different brewery booms happen at different times with states, and sometimes it's just the hurdle of that state making the laws easier for breweries to open. And kudos, I mean, even we were at Calf Killer today, and how they opened up so long ago, and they couldn't even for 7 years sell beer on their premise, and just how they had to wait for those laws, and they were kind of the advocates for breweries like Common John, stuff like that, where they paved the way for so many other breweries. And I'm sure with West Virginia will be the same thing. And before you know it, it'll be like when I lived in Knoxville in 2014, I think there was 3 breweries, and now there's like 8 in 2 blocks with a total of 30 in the whole city. It's crazy.
that's
Crazy. But it's what's awesome about our community. It's fun because it's more the merrier. It's so many breweries have different events, and they have kind of their different vibe and different beer, and it's just with the craft beer community, it's like, hey, bring it on. We want more.
And that's what's amazing though with the craft beer community. It's just not just the people, but it's like the people that actually work for the breweries and the brewery owners. It's like the competition is not each other. Competition's the big players like Anheuser-Busch and things like that. So it's like, think about that, where as we help each other grow, it's like West Virginia is starting to see that a little bit. And it's like they're not competition to each other. They need to grow together, and that's how you change culture.
Exactly. And you do help. You help out at Common John, correct?
Yeah, I'm their chief festival officer.
Oh, there we go. So if someone's listening to this and maybe they're a brewery owner, work at a brewery, and they're not on the hot passport yet, what would you say to that person that might kind of push them to do it, or maybe not do it? Like what advice would you give that how the hot passport helps?
So, I mean, the biggest thing is when people travel, everyone travels, but people that love craft beer, they like seeking that new thing. And the hot passport actually guides those individuals to certain areas. So if I'm traveling through Illinois or Wisconsin, which I'll be in this weekend actually, I'm seeking out a brewery because of the hot passport. Normally would not go there if it wasn't for the hot passport. But now there's a reason to be like, hey, that's another stamp I could put on my hot passport. So things like that are incentives to individuals that love craft beer and love breweries.
That's great. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us on What's a Brewin'. Till next time, cheers.